It is indeed an honor and distinct pleasure for me this morning to preside over the launch of the 2011 Africa Awards for Entrepreneurship ceremony, which has and brings together individuals and companies leading the way in business and innovation. I take this opportunity to congratulate the leadership of Legatum and Media Network, the sponsors of this prestigious event, which would provide entrepreneur development, thus propelling economic development and growth in Africa. Recording victories, successes, and inspiring growth in Africa. The Africa Awards for Entrepreneurship seeks to recognize, reward, and stimulate the efforts of those individuals and companies that are leading the way in business and innovation. By celebrating those who have successfully embraced the challenges and rewards of growing business in Africa, the awards seek to contribute to the rebranding of Africa as a continent of economic opportunity. Much information is available on record that Africa is endowed with numerous natural resources that are envied by other continents. In actual fact, Africa is the next big thing about to happen. However, and despite the fact that the continent, which is Africa, is fully endowed with resources of unquantifiable value, Africa is reputed for high levels of poverty, poor infrastructure, inequitable distribution of resources, marginal industrialization, poor governance, and by far low standards of living. This morning, I'm aware that I'm addressing leading African entrepreneurs who have the drive and ability to demonstrate that they are the engines that Africa needs to drive sustainable economic and social development. Tremendous growth in the African enterprise has resulted and translated to increased ownership of assets, wealth creation and generation, retention of knowledge and skill, intellectual and property rights, in addition to employment creation. There is a dire need for our government and public leaders to look into this direction for inspiration and to embrace the prospects of economic and social development. I wish to thank and congratulate Legatum and Media for their support and identification of entrepreneurship in Africa, and for their belief that African entrepreneurs are capable to bringing economic and social changes in this continent that can be matched with other leading global players. I'm a firm believer that the entrepreneur is a key asset in the driving of any business enterprise. This continent is no doubt endowed, but as I look at the issues that plague our continent, be they governance, ethics, values, etc., I note carefully that these have all to do with the entrepreneur and not other factors of capital and infrastructure. Being an entrepreneur myself, and having started a telecommunications outsourcing business over 14 years ago without much in terms of capital, but today leading the pack in telecommunications outsourcing network solutions, having presence in over 7 countries, and also as a group playing the education role where we run high education quality schools like the Rose of Sharon group of schools, I am more convinced than ever that the key focus now needs to zero in and bring light than ever before to turning focus on a value-based entrepreneur. We at Linksoft Group run a faith-based Pan-African organization that has a firm stand and belief that ethics and values form a major foundation for driving of businesses. In view of believing this and that the entrepreneur is key, we went ahead in the year 2005 and set up a foundation known as Kingdom Business Network, a training and development arm that seeks to train and raise leaders on a values and ethics-based platform with God-aligned base for economic development. I have been privileged through this program to raise and train the likes of Melek Engineering, Investec, to mention a few, that have gone through the training and made tremendous impact in this society and the economy both in Kenya and in Africa, and being awarded accolades and awards in Kenya and the continent, such as the African Awards for Entrepreneurs, Top 100 Awards, the FIRE Awards, and the Kenya Institute of Management Awards, just to mention a few. I am convinced and now clearly focused on the demonstration that ethics and values in the development and raising of the entrepreneur are key to helping the delivery of solutions alongside innovation and hard work, for which I subscribe to. As I read the Pan-African Africa Propensity Index for Sub-Saharan report compiled by Legatum Institute, I could not help but notice distinctly the relationship between individual country performance, rating, and three key parameters, namely education, personal freedom, and governance, which also involves self-governance. Countries that improved in education, personal freedom, and governance gained a measure of 3 to 6 places up in ranking. I sadly note, though, that Kenya did not improve in most of these areas and hence registered a 7-mark drop overall to 104th position. And I'd like to say in this forum that this has to change. Do you agree with me? I would like to believe that once the individuals, those are the entrepreneurs, are educated and enlightened and given the personal platform, a platform for personal freedom, which encompasses values and ethics, alongside disciplined governance and focus, growth and improvement become inevitable. Innovation, as demonstrated here by Virtual City and the other companies of alike, which is original thinking, coupled by hard work and ethics, remain key ingredients that I would like to encourage today's entrepreneurs to develop and cherish as they make a mark in this continent. I was privileged last month to visit the Silicon Valley in Palo Alto in San Jose, California, and realized that this thriving city had 3 operational platforms that have resulted in homing the world's largest known corporate organizations. These key things, 3 things, are namely the Stanford University, which forms the platform for the Center of Learning and Innovation, and then a group of venture capitalists that provide the home to financing entrepreneurs that are innovative, and thirdly, blue chip organizations that form and provide an employment platform for these highly trained and developed minds. There is no reason why we in Africa today, and through the forums of this nature, as these awards today, cannot be singling out the raising and development of visioned, God-given, ethical and value-based entrepreneurs as key contributors to our continent's growth. This is an asset we must recognize and passionately thrive to improve. With the development and platform of ethically minded entrepreneurs, the management of our continent's given wealth, and alongside true governance, this will not be an issue, and I'm more convinced than ever that this ingredient will make us able to rebrand this continent as a continent of economic opportunity. It is clear that we need to infuse relevant content of education systems, education platforms, to help transform our generations to embrace quality entrepreneurs who have then an impact in the generation and cultivation of knowledge as we share best practices. Let us own up and admit that all our excuses about lack of capital, lack of infrastructure, can be turned around if the entrepreneur's mind is shaped afresh to understand that with the correct mindset and the correct value-based system, we can overcome these hurdles that lie ahead of us and translate them to opportunities and platforms that we can step on to make impact. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to wish all the entrepreneurs that will take place in this forum and award system, and mention to you that this is the opportunity to showcase our great African enterprise and spirit of leadership and participation. I wish every success to these participants in this journey for the next 6 months, and I'm sure that we shall have a lot of innovations, strategic development, and ethical-based leadership as we make for an African proud forum. Thank you.